Hey, what's up everybody? Lawler here, your inside source for Rocket League. Got a couple things to break down in today's video, primarily being Beyond the Summit number 2 has officially begun. We've also got to be talking about a new sponsorship coming to the RLCS, or primarily the CRL, as well as some other things on the docket. But before we get into that, as always, if you guys enjoy the content, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, all that kind of fun stuff. In the description down below as well, all my social medias if you want to give those a shout. And if you guys have yet to see so, massive shout outs to the new sponsor as well. I recently joined as part of the Omen squad, or if you guys do not know, Omen by HP, a computer brand that is going to be powering my new rig and everything. But more details on that in the description below if you would like to check out the announcement post if you did not see it. First things first, a couple days ago, it was announced that Thrustmaster signs on to present the CRL Wildcard and National Championship. If you guys do not know Thrustmaster, a couple pros, as well as I think Gibbs, ended up using their product. But for those that don't know, I personally use what is called an Astro C40 as my controller. Astro Gaming, obviously, I use their modular controller. So if you guys have never seen it, this is what it looks like. Thrustmaster is a little bit different, but what you can end up doing is the screws on there, you can actually undo the top panel, and it makes it a modular controller. So the way that it works out is the faceplate comes off, and if you prefer a PlayStation layout as compared to a Xbox layout, the buttons are modular. The buttons are modular like I'm talking about, and then you can adjust where your analogs are, or if you want to put this one up here, or if you want to adjust any of that kind of stuff. It makes it fully modular, and you can change it up however you'd like. So I do know primarily Shazette uses one for Thrustmaster, but there is a couple that are starting to experiment with this, and the nice thing too is if your analogs and stuff go bad, you can completely remove them and adjust them. So for those that don't know what it is, that is what the Thrustmaster brand is. Links to that stuff in the actual description, but primarily they are talking about how they need a partner that shares the same level of pedigree as the CRL. We're proud to announce that Thrustmaster, the world leading of simulation racing and flight simulation hardware, has signed on to present the CRL Wildcard and CRL National Championship. So this will not be for the regular season. It will primarily be for the wildcard spot as well as the National Championship in those actual productions. They talk then a little bit more about what the controller is, stuff that I just showed you in my particular one, even though it's not the same brand, some similarities between the two, and then talks about additional prizing that will be given to the people that compete in the CRL. We haven't really seen a new sponsor come to Rocket League in quite a while when it comes to the direction of the professional broadcast or the RLCS. Obviously, there's some to take note, like State Farm and Verizon and stuff like that we've seen in the past. Obviously, Brisk from previous things, but we've also seen non-endemic sponsors, things like Transformers at Season 2 in Amsterdam. But primarily, to my knowledge, this was in partnership with E-League, where E-League was supposed to be handling a lot of these partnerships for the RLCS. And with how well and how successful it's been over probably the past 6 to 8 months, I'm actually surprised that we're not seeing actually more sponsorships kind of come in. And it quite possibly could be that they're being very picky because they have the right to be. So it will be interesting to see if we see further sponsorships start to develop, and not just for CRL, but also for the RLCS. If you'd like more details about that, it will be in the description down below with a link to the article and everything else, as well as there's links in there that kind of showcase the controller as well as the prize thing. They talk about a VIP case, which has a bunch of stuff in it. It's kind of hard to see the details, but the image gives you somewhat of an idea. Next thing up, a majority of what this is going to be about is going to be about Beyond the Summit. Beyond the Summit is going to be a 4-day event that started today, technically yesterday for when this video drops. BTS is probably one of the most favorite. A lot of focus on the commentators and the pro players having a little bit more laid back and fun result. But they do usually one kind of like serious tournament, and then one more so slapstick fun, kind of swap in the casters, kind of just have a good time with it. And they're doing that a lot in partnership with Lethamir's custom app. So the first part, which is the main format, is a 8-team tournament, which is split into 2 groups of 4. That's what started today. This is a double elimination format with groups where the top 3 from each group advance into the playoffs. Every single match, though, is a best of 7. We saw a lot of series going to 7. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. This will be on the 15th and the 16th for North America, while Europe will be on the 17th and the 18th. Once we figure out the top 3, which will still be figured out tomorrow or today when this video comes out, they'll then go into the playoffs, which will be on the 19th. If these dates get confusing by any means, all this information will be in the description with a link to the Liquipedia for you to follow along with. Alongside the format with the groups and the double elimination kind of situation, there is also what they are calling a holiday crew battle, where they are taking some of the commentators and some of the casters and mixing them with some of the pro players. They're doing this in 3 different modes. Tuesday's mode was the custom tetherball. If you guys have ever seen Lethemir or the rest of us play tetherball, they played that for the semifinals. The teams that ended up winning their tetherball match will go on into Wednesday, where they will play capture the flag in a finals mode. If you guys haven't seen Lethemir do his capture the flag map, it is this, but with a holiday theme. As a reiteration, all the matches are a single elimination bracket, and they are best of 3s. There was no Mafia today, but they have tweeted that there will be Mafia for Europe tomorrow, so things to look forward to with that. The tournament has a $25,000 prize pool, but let's actually get into the people that played today. We've got Alpine, Rogue, Kansas City Pioneers, Version 1, United, Knights, Sonics, and Space Station Gaming. The big thing to pay attention to, though, is for Space Station, because Red Bulls had class and school. They ended up using their sub and their coach in Chrome. We take a look at the results for Group A. We've got Pittsburgh Knights at 1-0, Space Station at 1-0, Alpine at 0-1, and Version 1 at 0-1. The big surprising one here is the fact that Version 1, even though they did go all the way to 7 against Space Station, this is with Space Station using Chrome, and is not a good look for V1. I didn't watch too many of the matches just because I didn't want to rebroadcast them and get in trouble with like copy strike stuff. So from the glances that I did look at, it did look a little bit sloppy and a little bit sluggish, which is to be expected. But Chrome had some pretty good shots as you're looking at the highlights probably on screen here. There's some good moments here from both teams, but ultimately the fact that it goes to 7, I think this is a pretty bad sign from V1. I would take this with a grain of salt, though. Obviously, BTS is meant to be a little bit more relaxed and have a little bit more fun with it. The fact that teams are playing with Chrome kind of shows that. But at the same time, for V1, this is not a good look. If you're losing to this team where they're missing a key player and you guys are still not only keeping it close, but not being able to like put them away, that makes it a little bit worrisome for me. The series itself was very back and forth. As we go into then PK versus Alpine. And Alpine, I was actually surprised to not lose this. The game starts off with 3 overtimes back to back to back. But this one, from people, what they were telling me in chat was the fact that every time I heard from it, they're like, oh, Alpine was winning. No, just kidding. And then by the end of it, it was PK. So I think this is a good sign for PK. Alpine was a team that was trending in a really good direction lately for regionals. And PK, who came off a really star-studded lineup in Regional 1 and then the grid immediately after, started to falter a little bit and fall out early. So glad to see that they're staying competitive and still getting wins, even if it is going to 7. We will have the winners match later today. That starts at noon Eastern, and it'll be Space Station versus PK. And then immediately after that, we'll go into Group B. Break down Group B for you. We have Sonics, Rogue, United, and Kansas City Pioneers, with Sonics and Rogue going 1-0 and United and Kansas City Pioneers going 0-1. A lot of really close matches. Only one series not going the distance to 7, which is KCP and Sonics. T-Krell came into chat a little bit after their matches and was talking about it. And feeling pretty confident with the new team. Obviously, Sonic's a team that we've been waiting to see develop. Now that it's T-Krell and J-Russ, and the addition of Shock, now that he's back on the starting lineup. And it seems like they're just getting more and more comfortable. The only time they lose is when Kansas City Pioneers put up a lot of goals. But other than that, Sonic's pretty much shut them out or held them to 1 goal, which I think is a pretty big deal considering how chaotic Kansas City Pioneers can be. So Sonic, congrats to that. T-Krell really finding his form in that one. On the other side, we've got Rogue versus United. And I do have a lot of excitement, I would say, for this new United team, because I think they're showing a lot of potential. It's just a matter of what United we're going to get. Rogue has actually been playing pretty solid as of late, where Troko just continues to find a way to enable both Turnturo and First Killer. And, you know, I still have my concerns about, can they recreate that level of playstyle? Can they be super aggressive and really challenge heavy all the time? And apparently so. It seems like they can continue to recreate it. Rogue does win in 7 here. There is one overtime in game 5 that goes for a little over 3 minutes, and it is United that wins 4-3. But ultimately, it does look like Rogue does control a majority of this game. There's a couple mishaps where, like, you look at game 1, it's 5-4 Rogue, super close, and then game 2, United gets a Brazil and wins 7-1, and then it balances itself out and kind of becomes a little bit more normal. But it just feels to me like a lot of these teams, whether it be Sonics or otherwise, if you limit their goal scoring capability, the defense just isn't enough to hold on. So Rogue, I think, really heavily reliant on scoring a ton of goals in a series, because then it doesn't matter how poor their defense may look. So Rogue able to win out that one. So the schedule for today, the 16th, is going to be Space Station PK. Then it'll go Sonics Rogue. Then it'll go V1 Alpine. And then it'll go KCP and United. So some pretty exciting matches. After that's all done, and after they've figured out who the best is in this format for groups, you then have a seeding decider, which is going to be the loser of match 3 versus the winner of match 4. If you're not following that, make sure you guys go to the Liquipedia, or maybe Wojtek will show the image up here. But you can see all the matches, and if you look at the elimination match versus the other one, you can see the 2 teams from those. Whoever loses the winners match and whoever wins the elimination match those two teams will play. Hopefully that makes sense. From there, you can kind of figure out the playoff bracket and how that'll play out, but we won't see those matches for North America until the 19th. So a little bit of wait on that one. We can take a quick look as well over at Europe with the 8 teams, which are going to be BDS, Blokes, Giants, Guild, Galaxy, Vitality, Dignitas, and Endpoint. You can see how the groups are playing out. In Group A, it's going to be Dignitas, Galaxy Racer, Giants Gaming, and BDS. That is a stacked group. You look at Group B, and that's no slouch either. You've got Endpoint, the revitalized Guild, Vitality, and Top Blokes. Both of these are going to be very close. I actually think Group B and Group A are extremely stacked. NA, even though there's some dominant performers, I think EU is a little bit more even across the board, especially in the top 6, probably top 8. Those matches will be going down on the 18th. So not today, but tomorrow, starting on Thursday, we will get to watch EU start to play. They'll play their 2 matches with their final day the day after. Again, if you have any questions on how to follow the schedule, either you can watch these videos and they'll help you out, or you go to the link in the description for Liquipedia and you can click the little eye icon or info and it'll automatically convert to your time zone so you know exactly when these happen. That is going to wrap it up for this video. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, as always, drop those down below. If there's any news that you guys may have heard of or any rumors or stuff that you'd like me to talk about, let me know about that as well. But until then, if you guys enjoy the content, as always, thumbs up, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and we will catch you next time. Peace.